Nail breaks.
Oh, thank you, Zoraida.
Zoraida, you got this, girl. Like, this is such a classic picture. I mean,
Oh,
it really is. This is the classic picture of moving from, see, we even used it right here, from the beautiful, glorious bit of fall into all the leaves start falling. And we're moving into this. So this is such a great representation of this transition period of the nail cells, which are dead, have extended past the nail bed. It's all right. Nail plate has extended past the nail bed. And now the only way that they get their nutrients and their hydration and the oil and the replenishment is through oiling and being so careful. So careful. It's like here in Washington, it's like a good fall is we don't have rain for 2 weeks. But a lot of the time we get rain as soon as the leaves turn, and then all of the leaves are taken off the tree. So this is the same thing with your nails. Of if something's going on in your life, you're moving, or you go get groceries, or you have to make the bed, or zip up your zipper, or just like on your shoes, happens. Whatever it is, you're at high risk. So that's also part of the cycle. That's okay.
Yeah.
Other breaks. So we got, oh, this is another one. Sad one, Jamie, here on the
like that. And
super sad. Also Carolina. So sad. Oh, our hearts ache for you. And then Christina, it's like you get breaks at different lengths. It's like, okay, well, what are we gonna do with that?
What are we gonna do?
And then we get the ouch. Oh, quick. Oh, Julie.
Oh, Julie, I feel for you. Yes.
Oh,
what we're trying to do is educate you also in that of learning the bumpers, the guardrails, the bumpers of your life, because over time you will start to know when this is about to happen.
Yep.
Have the occasional thing where your hand gets stuck on something and it just, your nail goes instead of your finger. And that's probably what happened right there. That was a true accident.
Yeah.
But
we can't always avoid those.
No, accidents happen, and we do the best we can.
Speaking of accidents, this is Deborah. She was changing her tire and got it smashed and bent back, so it bruised all the way under.
She's changing her tire with nails that are like this. She's amazing.
Sorry, the cough drop.
So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but in this area, whether it got bent or whether something landed on it, she immediately got broken blood vessels underneath. And that's going to turn black. That's just because
And so this right here, this is no longer going to receive oil and blood flow and stuff from the nail bed because it's been separated. So this is going to be weaker as her nail grows out, which is going to increase the risk of the side tears and a really painful side tear.
Yeah, very highly possible to tear on those sides there.
Yep.
Well, as dry out and curl. If it separates from the nail bed, it's going to dry out.
So that's a thing. So the next one, sidewall tears. These are terrible. Nobody likes these. Oh, Julie.
No, and they happen. Notice her nails are a little flatter. Like mine, I have a very strong C curve, and I can see that she has more of a C curve out towards the end. Mm-hmm. But across the nail bed, it's much flatter, and so that's why she gets those kind of tears, and I get those on my fingers all the time, way back there.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
Ouchie, ouchie. Then we have...
That's just upward forces. So when you've got a force that's going up, the body's response, the way the nails are, is that they will tear across this way.
Because if they tore down this way, we would all cry. The saddest of tears.
Yeah.
And then we have the snags and
we would not be able to catch saber-toothed tigers and pick blueberries.
All right, then. That just painted a different party in my brain. So this is the saber-toothed tiger picnic.
Yeah.
Anyway, snags and side tears. So as your free edge grows out, you're going to have these side tears and snags. It's like, all right, do I trim it? Do I file it? Do I do a silk nail wrap patch on it? What do I do with this? I want to preserve the nails. So these are all parts of the challenge of fall moving into winter.
Right.
Peeling can start from spring. Like this can start from the very beginning. This is something that I really struggle with, and we'll talk more about the specific challenges with nail structure next week. We have things broken down. We have so many exciting things to share with you, but this is one of depending on the shape of your nail and the nail plate and how it fits with your nail bone and your lifestyle and genetics and nail layers and all of these other things. Some of us are more prone to these annoying side peels like this, and they can be devastating.
Right.
So like Jennifer's experiencing here, hers has grown out, and you can see it's starting to peel here on its free edge. So
right.
This part is no longer receiving nutrients, oil, water from the body. It's just out there hanging on its own. Good luck.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know exactly what happened here, Jennifer, but it
that looks like delamination from improper acrylic remover. I could be wrong.
Yeah, again, so that's just what it would look like, where it's peeling from closer to the nail matrix versus the tip down. That kind of speaks to damage from removing the product.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have bruising. Bruising is so fancy. So this is a fresh bruise here on the left from Court, which
and that's where the blood vessel's been broken in the nail bed. Whereas the one from Sue, those are the white bruises that happen from trauma on the matrix, so trauma on the nail plate that's underneath the skin. And so this actually is a photograph of an image of her, and what she would do is she would push back her proximal fold, separating it from the cuticle. So basically she was saying, I push back my cuticles, and I go, with what? And she goes, a metal cuticle tool every day. And so she thought she was just pushing back, but I could tell right away she was pushing down also.
You can see how it's red and puffy here around where her proximal fold line should be.
She also cut. Yeah. So, yeah. So she was
and the pushing.
She was a massive fidgeter. She was like overworking them. Yeah. And so I said, put down the tool for about at least a month to 2 months. And she started to see the difference in shows. So she actually stopped using it.
All right, so we have bruising. That's a thing. And then we have ridges. Ruffles have ridges. Nails. And there are all sorts of different levels of it. And this has been so fun to see in the group. Oh my gosh, I love everybody showing their ridges. It's great. It makes me want to dip you in sour cream and chive dip and not bite them because that's really gross. But, it's like it's wonderful.
Yeah, and ridges. People think my ridges are getting worse. No, your grooves in between your ridges are getting worse. They're getting shallower and thinner.
I'm going to skip. I'm going to cheat and look forward just because it's relevant to right now.
Good. And so it is the grooves in between those are sections of your nail matrix that are not functioning at high capacity anymore.
So at your nail matrix, so let's go back to this image. Let me find it, please. So through here on top, like you can't, because this is horizontal, you can't see it, but if you were to flip it this way, there are grooves here that are happening from the matrix. Is that correct? It's because the cells are compromised, we're getting older, our bodies don't function the same way, our digestion isn't working as well as it used to. Instead of being able to puff everything up to the top level, like, oh, we'll just squeak out this bare minimum in between these color ones. Like, maybe nobody will notice. Right. But we do notice, gosh darn it, we get ridges.
Yeah. Those are just little sections of your matrix that are not functioning at the same level as the parts that have the ridges, which are your thickest part. So you want your ridges, you just don't want the grooves in between.
Yep.
And that's why you don't see children are in a massive state of constant growth, which is why we don't see ridges on kids very often unless there's a health issue. Mm-hmm. And it's because their matrix is working flawlessly. It's just great.
Their warranty hasn't expired yet.
Exactly. This is very, very true.
And so we get other things like white spots with their ridges. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing your photo.
Yeah, and those are just, when we start to get that, if it's Most of the time it's acetone induced, where just the top surface is getting dried out. And so there needs to be more oil around those cells. So it's called the nicolysis, which means whitening of the nail plate.
Oncholysis.
A nicolysis.
A nicolysis.
Yeah. I hope I'm saying that right.
I think you are. I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah.
You say it wrong.
We'll get into the book. Okay. So here we've got...
And Anne, this is super interesting. I know you were embarrassed, but oh my gosh, this is so interesting.
Yeah, Anne, we're just like loving you.
Like you can see the beaded ridges here.
Yeah. And beaded ridges can go with a health issue. Not always, but a lot of times they can be. So, our nails tell you things, but don't go on the internet and try and sleuth that out.
They'll tell you have cancer and Lyme disease and...
Oh, gosh. So, no, it's never that bad. And then because she's got these grooves, what's happening is, and I don't know her lifestyle, but if she's really busy and does lots of things with her hands, you don't even notice when your nails are getting bent to the sides as they do things. And so then she's getting these little microscopic tears.
So if we look right here, you can see a little tear in that groove.
Yep, that's all that is.
It's thinner and it has fewer cells together.
Yeah, yeah. And your nails can only handle so much stress of going this way and backwards, and wow.
It's physics. And then damage to the nail plate. Damage happens to trees. It could be too much heavy snowfall. It could be a big windstorm. It could be whatever. In our lives, we have our own windstorms. So Mirka, you sent us so many great photos. Thank you, girl.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so this looks like damage from removing enhancements.
Did she have enhancements on? And these are pictures after that.
I know she gave us from years back. So, and then this is a classic one I deal with.
Look at that polish.
Look at that. Look at that pigmentation in there. Look at that. Yeah. You get like a little chunk and it tears down. And mine actually usually for deeper than that, it's thick where I'm like, I hate you.
Right.
And then we get other things like the side tears and healing. That one so classic for me.
Yeah, lots of examples of. So you can see that person has really much flatter nails.
Yep, like mine are way more flatter like this. That looks way more like my nail shape. There are some ridges going on here. So this one right in the middle, that's a thicker part of the nail. We don't want to file that down. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can see lots of delamination back here on the south side, the south part of the area.
Right here. And this is why we don't want to peel our polish off. This is why you get the acetone.
Yeah. So it's like as soon as you get one chip, go. Just sit on your hands and
go get the acetone. Here's another one from Mirka. It's like these side peels, super classic. And like you were explaining on it, these parts, they get bent so much. You reach into your pants, you reach into your pockets, you reach into your purse, whatever it is. It's going to tap this a little bit differently. Even typing on your keyboard, wherever the point of contact is, that's going to, like, the repetitive injury is kind of what it is. Of that continual force on this other structure, as soon as it loses hydration, it's going to fracture.
Right.
It's just
people think that a strong C curve is going to be better. Well, a strong C curve comes with its own problems, and I break so many of these little corners on constant, and that's showing how much stress is happening on the sides of my nails.
Yep. As
a result of them being so curved.
Yep.
And I'll get more breaks than tears. So like I'll have a whole section, like a whole corner just break off.
And for me, in my transition phase from nubbins into free edge, my corners take the worst brunt of it. This is where the peels start. And for me, it will go back halfway back on my nail. So I have to be super, super mindful. It's annoying, but it is what it is. More peeling. This looks really a lot like my nails. I'll get the vertical peels. I'll get the horizontal. I'll get things lifting up like this and from the side there. It's like all of the pieces, as soon as I reach fall, I'm like the little wimpy tree that has like half a day of beautifulness. And then it's all like we're so tired. Can we just take a nap?
And people think that because I teach this and stuff that I never get any of it. That's not true.
Yeah. I posted
have my
in the group a little while ago of this.
My nails look a lot like Elizabeth's.
Yep.
A lot of the time.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And then the peeling / delamination is what it's actually called. This is a more severe version, and I'll get these too. And this is where I have to be so careful because it will peel halfway back. One reach into a pocket, one running my hand through my hair, any of those little tiny things, I'm like, we're done. End of the show. Then we end up in blood and tears.
Yes.
And then we have the horizontal fractures. And this is from the pressure going forward. And
this is from a lot of times when your nail gets bent backwards.
Yep. And so in the nail bite pick spectrum, one of the classifications we came up with is the chomper. And so when I am in a chomper phase, I'm just like, beep, 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 beep. I'm not chewing the nail off. I'm not doing anything else, but it's bending the nail in the middle. I totally get those splits right across the middle. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I guess you're dead to me. Sorry. And then another Mirka. This is a toe, not a thumb. Mirka shared this with us. She had this diagnosis of fungus on either side from her doctor. We would like to emphasize that we are not medical providers. We cannot diagnose or treat or whatever. You suspect you have a fungus or something else that's sticky going on, go to your doctor, go to your dermatologist. If you don't like their answers, find another one. Fire that one, find another one.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of people look at their fingernails and they're like, oh my God, if it's a yellow spot, I have fungus. Fungus takes a long, long time to show up. It likes a dark, warm, moist environment.
It progresses slowly.
Very, very slow, like months and years kind of slow.
Yep.
And so a lot of people will say, oh, well, I've got a fungus on my nails. It's so difficult to get it on your nails. That will tend to happen more with enhancements because if you're creating a nice dark environment, that's more.
So the enhancements on top of your nail plate provides that darkness and the moistness and all of those things that it would need to grow. So if your nail tech is not appropriately sanitizing and sterilizing their tubs, all of their tools, everything that they're using, you're at risk. Even, what was it that Rhea said? Rhea shared something if somebody didn't remove all of the gel properly and then they put enhancements on top of that. And because there was that little pocket, it created little yellow spots where fungus was able to start on.
Yeah. So there's just so much to it. And that's why your nail professional needs to be on top of their game.
Yep.
And so a fungus, if you want to know the difference, this is why we see it on toes so much, especially big toes. Our small toenails tend to grow, they seem like they grow faster, but it's just because it's so much smaller. For me, I've actually learned that my big toe takes an entire year to replace itself. And so that's not uncommon. And so you will see, since the fungus likes to eat the nail plate, it eats the keratin, but it's digesting it so slow that it takes time for it to yellow and crumble. So the longer the fungus is there, it just continues to work its way down as the nail is growing out. But has the appearance of getting thicker because all of the cells are getting consumed and the fungus is the fungus is
kind of like, hey, you nail layer, scoot over. I'm in here eating and you.
Their waste process as well.
Yep. So if you think of slugs, like slugs are super slow moving. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage real quick, but if you leave them alone,
they will eat your hostas.
They will eat your hostas.
There's some other things that they like to eat. Dahlias.
All of dahlias. If you have lettuce in your garden,
they like the little fresh stuff. So anyway,
fungus. Yeah. We'll talk more about this next week too.
Yep.
And then more damage. Oh, Catherine, we know you're suffering, and we're here for you.
And unfortunately, all we can do is wait. But we had an interesting tip for Catherine, as we were doing this, of if your nails are so thin, I would glue on plastic nails, full coverage nails. I would glue them on with a good nail glue and protect those nails, especially if they've been ground down paper thin. So,
and I know, Catherine, you said they are paper thin. These tips are just like you, and they break. So at this point, when you've had so much damage, the goal is to protect the nail plate as it's growing out. And these layers can peel appropriately without causing more damage while you're healing.
When you're like that, if people don't want to hear it, but cut them.
Yeah.
You gotta cut them so that there is no free edge to keep snagging and breaking.
And I know that's not a popular answer, and if we look at our nail cycle and nail seasons, it's okay.
Coming.
Have different seasons. It's okay.
Coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Calluses and split skins. Elizabeth, thank you for sharing your toe with us.
Yes.
And I love that we can share toes in this group. I love it. Because everybody has, well, not everybody. Most everybody has toes. So it's okay. And I used to get these before I started using Honest products on my toes and feet. In the winter, on my thumbs and on my toes, I would get these horrible splits that would just split and split and split and split. So painful. And that's part of it. Like the calluses we talked about, when you're in shoes, when it's winter and the socks are sapping away all of your oils and stuff, it tells your body, we need more cells here. Can we please get some more cells? It's like, I need seconds, I need thirds, I need dessert, I need a to-go bag. And then all of a sudden, your foot's like, ugh. We have too many cells and we're not, the skin isn't able to push through all of the oils and stuff, so it dries out and then it splits. And then we have injury, which is terrible. And that's also part of life. You know, it's like if you think of a tree, at some point, some of these branches are going to split. And as soon as they get split, it's going to cause like more of the rain and the bugs and everything else will be able to get in, and it'll cause all of these other issues until eventually that branch falls off. So the same with your calluses, like there are ways to deal with the calluses to remove that excess without removing too much so that your body can heal. And it is important to not remove too much, because if you remove too much, or if you use one of like the crazy peels, like feet as soft as babies' butts, we don't want our feet as soft as baby butts.
Oh, no, baby soft feet should be on babies, not
because babies don't walk on their feet yet. So
we need the calluses.
The calluses help to protect us, so we need like a happy medium between there. So this is too much because it's splitting and bleeding and cracking and hurting. So hydrating those extra cells instead of focusing on instead of focusing on stripping everything off and peeling everything back, start with hydrating your cells. And that's, you know, it's like if you think of the all right, I mean, summer we get flip flop feet in the summer, and when the summer we have more sun and less water, so you water your tree.
Dehydrated.
It's dehydrated.
My feet get so dehydrated because I garden across the whole property all weekend and in flip flops, and
and
my
so
feet crack and they hurt.
You just leave the hose on for extra, or do an overnight hydration or something else, and that helps to extend the life of the skin.
And water doesn't. That's the thing, is water doesn't make it better. Water is hydrating. I mean, water is moisturizing. You can think of moisture is water, but if we want to moisturize that skin, we don't want to do it with water. So that's where it gets sort of, our English terminology gets dicey, because
if you think of it like a street raid, sorry, but like you have all of the people coming in. If there's anarchy going on, it goes into the stores. So the stores are full, but when everybody leaves, they're taking all the stuff with them. So it's like the water comes in and it fills all the cells up, but as it leaves, it takes all of that oil with it.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
It's like a street raid.
Street raid. I'm going, what? All right.
She's like, where is she going? We're recording right now. This could be bad.
It better be a good one.
So yeah, it's like the nail soak is a joke that we've posted of Sure, it moisturizes your skin. The water molecules penetrate your skin and your nail oil. That's okay. Where the problem enters is when it leaves. It does not leave like a good house guest. It takes all of the towels and the linens and the soap and the everything else, and it's like the hotel is like, great. Now we got to replenish all of that.
Right.
Jerks.